And we are live.
I see the yellow thing in the right hand of the screen just popped up. We're live. Holy cow.
It did.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Flight Test Community Cast, episode 11. Today we have I'm pretty darn excited about this. We have a really cool guest, Ed from Experimental Airlines. I'm not even going to try to say your last name, Ed. I'm sorry. I'm not that good. Welcome.
O'Byrne? That's okay, man. Thanks
O'Byrne?
Yeah.
I'm feeling the O'Byrne.
There you go.
Haha. And we also
How's
have,
everybody doing this fine evening?
as you can tell, Joel.
Did I jump the gun on an introduction?
A little bit, but that's okay.
Doesn't that always happen with me? I'm always like, wait, I have something to say, but it always gets drowned out. I'm sorry. Go on, you can introduce me again if you want.
No, it's okay.
I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet, I
People
promise.
know who you are.
If they don't by now, then you haven't been listening to the show very long.
Congrats.
But anyway, really, how is everybody? What has everybody been doing this fine weekend?
It's been raining here. It never not rains anymore.
Yeah.
Raining in Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Is it the whole Northeast? Because I was reading about that potentially happening.
Probably.
That's very
He don't
sad.
know.
I'm
He
sorry.
just lives in Pennsylvania. He don't know.
I can only see next door. I don't know what the heck's happening in New York.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Oh, this
But
is going to be a
anyway.
good one this evening, isn't it?
It is. It's going to be a cracker barrel.
We're a little off tonight. Sorry,
Well, let me rephrase. Okay, we've had some technical issues. I was fighting with my Mobius camera, which is why I'm using my laptop camera. The QuickTime refused to start recording when I was testing it earlier, and the only thing that's worked so far correctly is GarageBand. So we're off to a really, really solid start, and Ed has been a champion and pushed through all of our testing, shall we say.
Looks good to me, brother.
I'm sorry. It's going to be one of those nights. Anyway, so
Fine.
can we run through some quick housekeeping? Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Can we do that? All right.
Yes, please.
Well, to start things off, first of all, can we dive into some Facebook stuff? And can I just say, we have officially broken 300 Facebook likes. Thank you all so very, very much for following us. I actually have to give Flight Test a big credit for that, because if it wasn't for their most recent update and pushing the content for our Flight Test Build Nights current poll that has now ended, we wouldn't be nearly as popular as we are now. So thank you, Flight Test. Thank you, Austin Fury. And thank you all for following us. If you haven't done so already, just go on to facebook.com/Flight Test Community Podcast, and you will find our happy podcast with all of the goodies in there. You would have seen, if you have been following us, that we post all of our episodes, including our live links, which I'm actually about to drop that into our community cast page so that we can get more live people following along with us, because the link that I originally posted as part of our technical issues also decided to drop out. So yeah, currently we are only have one live audience member, so that was my fault. I am very sorry for that.
Who is it? Oh, is it Eddie? Oh.
It probably is. Wouldn't surprise me if it was Eddie.
Sorry I didn't pick up the phone earlier when you called me. I was out to dinner.
So yes. So anyway, other housekeeping pieces. We officially are now part of Flight Test, Flight Fest Build Nights, or, well, what is it? Their building series? Help me out, guys. Someone help.
The Flight Test Community Cast Build Night at Flight Fest Nights, I think.
Man, this is getting...
Anyone
I
want
tell
to
you
hit
what,
the
guys,
reset button on the show?
We are going to be part of the Flight Test Flight Fest Build Series. We're having 2 community build nights. The first one is going to be on Thursday night, the 14th, which is is it the Tiny Trainer, I believe? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, good. I got it right. The second one is going to be on Friday night, and it is going to be the Arrow.
Is the voting over?
Yes, it is.
It is officially over.
I tell everybody to go vote for the Mini FT22.
I'm right there with you though, Patrick, because I really wanted it to be the FT22 too.
Oh well.
Continuing the little bit of housekeeping, for those of you, because I noticed we had a couple of comments on our Facebook feed. For those of you, because I'm going to post this in a way that everybody is going to get the information for it. If you haven't followed us already on our new feed for our podcast download, please, please, please go ahead and go to your favorite podcast subscription service and go ahead and download our brand new feed. We are now officially running off of Podbean, which is the same hosting software that the guys over at Freefall RC use, and we are jumping off of that bandwagon to join them, and it basically means that you guys will get your podcasts faster. So please go ahead and download that, and we will be happy to share any updates to the feed that will come our way. Anyway, that's all the stuff that I have on my side. Anyone else got any housekeeping pieces to share?
I cleaned up my workbench.
Oh, nice job, Pat.
Thanks.
Is that code for going into updates?
No, you asked about housekeeping. I cleaned up my workbench.
No, wrong kind of housekeeping. Housekeeping being business. What is it? It's the quorum procedure, Robert's Rules of Order. There's a certain procedural thing that you have to do for every meeting.
Yeah, I don't pay attention
is
to any of that.
Part of that.
Yeah, we pay no attention to rules around here.
Was anyone else in a fraternity? Anyone?
No.
Anyone else in a fraternity?
Hell
Okay,
no.
I was.
I didn't have to buy my friends.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I was in a Jewish fraternity. Okay, there was method to my madness. Yep, and I just silenced you. Yep, there we go. See.
This is not going well. I'm telling you. Here. I tell you what we're gonna do. We're going to skip that.
Take over, Mike.
We're going to go on to thank everyone that has subscribed to the FT Community Cast Facebook page, and we are looking so forward to seeing everyone at Flight Fest. It is going to be amazing. So can't wait to meet everybody that we haven't met yet there, and so looking forward to seeing everyone.
Yep. And Ed, I guess obviously you're coming back because you're going to run one of the workshops there?
Yes, indeed, man. Amen to that. I assume all four of us at least are coming to Flight Fest, so I'm
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
pleased to be there. I'm doing 4 educational sessions, 2 unique sessions, repeat of each.
Oh, wow. Cool.
One on kind of foam board origami, one on carbon fiber working.
Oh. So when you say foam board origami, are you talking like making more complex shapes with foam board?
Well, it's just kind of a fancy name for just the ways that I like to fold foam board and the ways that we do into wings, into fuselage tubes and stuff like that.
Very cool. Yeah.
So RC updates time.
Okay.
Has anyone been into doing some RC? 'Cause the only reason I stopped you there, Pat, is because let's move that to slightly later in the show during the Q&A portion.
He always does that to me, Mike.
I know. That's because you jumped the gun a lot.
You did. By quite a bit. So let's go into RC
I want to talk to Ed. Come on.
Patrick, since you're very, very excited to share, go ahead and tell us, what have you been up to in RC the last couple of weeks?
Actually, there were 2 nice days to fly last week, and I flew on one of them. And then it's rained for like every other day for the last month. So I spent some time at the field and just took a couple of planes. I took my E-Flight Super Cub 25E that's behind me. and my surfer, sky surfer slash Bixler, which you can see the tail sticking up behind me right there, and just flew those around. Had a good time. It was a day when there's a lot of lift in the air, so I was actually able to catch a couple of thermals with the surfer and keep it up for a while, which was really entertaining because it's far from a thermaling plane. But I realized that day how much I love that airplane. It just never gets old.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we do want to say what's up to Ryan, what's going on, Eddie, and
Hi, Adam.
Adam is saying, nice, Pat cleaned up his bench.
It's all a rumor.
That never happens, does it? Mikey, I know you're super excited to update us on your RC happenings.
Really excited. Last weekend, I actually got to go out and fly, really the first time this year, and it felt so good. Oh my God, I spent like 9 hours at the field, and actually maidened a brand new aircraft for me anyway, and that's the Fly Zone Beaver. I probably did between 6 and 8 packs doing nothing but touch and goes. So, and I've got video of quite a few of the touch and goes. If you guys want to go out to my YouTube channel, it is the Magic Ones, and it's all it is. I mean, I had nobody to film. I set up my GoPro, and then just clip touch and goes, just one right after the other. It was so fun, so relaxing.
I love days like that where you just get into that. It's kind of like a Zen thing. It's awesome.
That's exactly what it was. And of course, I did. I might as well tell this story. So I also took the Radian as well, and I think Pat, I might have told you this already, but so I took the Radian and was so excited to be at the field. I threw the wings in it, on it, put the battery in it, got it all ready to go, hand launched it, and watched it fly about 20 feet, and then the wings folded up. Guess what I forgot? I forgot to put the spar in the dang thing. Woohoo! Yep, that's exactly. I'm like, I felt like such a fool, but you know what? I was overexcited and just. I knew what happened as soon as I launched it. I saw the wings slowly, and finally it darted. Thankfully, it was only about 8 feet off the ground, so it didn't hurt anybody.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, you're welcome.
Mike, pro tip, don't forget your spar.
Well, here's the worst part, is I had everything out. It was sitting on the picnic table where I put the wings on. How bad is that?
Bitch.
Oh,
so,
that's epic.
Well, that's okay. And now it's recorded for posterity. And I know that Chris Roncaglione and Andre Rousseau will die.
They're going to listen to this, and I know Andre, he's going to be like, so guess who else flew their Radian recently and lawn darted it?
Well, thankfully, like I said, it was only about 8 feet up, so it didn't hurt anything. But, oh, man. But it felt so good to get out and fly. Hopefully there's going to be a lot more of that going on. So, anyway. So, Joel, what about you, buddy? What have you been up to?
Well, I've finished the scheme, finally finished the scheme on my baby Brit. So I will be flying, I don't even know which UK scheme it is, but it's a Brit scheme. It's really ornate. It's kind of been really complicated to do, but I finished it. I'm very, very happy with it. It looks amazing, but I can't find a single person in this town who can print on anything lighter than poster grade paper. So I need to either go down to the local library or there's a poster shop not too far from where I live. So I need to speak to someone down there and see if they can do anything for me. Because at the moment I haven't been able to find anyone who can, which is kind of annoying. But once I find that, then the baby Brit will be on the bench. But last weekend on that one, Allison's birthday, her best friend took her out shopping, and so that gave me a couple of hours to go out. And I have found a brand new flying field. And if for anyone who follows me personally on the social medias, aka Facebook and Instagram, you will know that I have in my current professional inventory a DJI Phantom 3 Professional. And so that is the field that I maidened that particular craft. So I took the DLG out there, and holy mackerel, there are some boomers out there in terms of lift. And I, for one, the guys can attest, I've never thermaled before with the DLG. I've gotten it up, I've sailed it back down, and the longest flight time maybe was about 45 seconds. I have video proof to say that I launched that sucker and I caught a boomer, and it was up there a good 2 minutes, and I was thrilled. I officially caught my very first thermal, so I was very, very, very happy with that.
That's very cool, man.
Yeah,
That's exciting stuff.
it is, and because the thing is with DLGs is once you launch it, I'm terrified, and Dan can attest to this because I killed his previous DLG doing this. I have a thing about letting it go all the way into a stall. I do not like getting it all the way into the edge. Now, the mini DLG, when I launch it, I can see it going up, and I don't like even letting it slow down. I like to push that nose over really, really hard, and I like to get the speed on it just because I like pushing it out over those thermal areas. As I was doing that, I saw the wingtip move, and I was like, oh, that's a thermal right there, and sharply turned the... And the other thing is with thermaling, I've noticed, is the faster you respond to anything that you see in the wings, the more quickly you're going to get into those air currents, and you're going to play in those rising currents of air. So, yeah, I learned a couple of really crucial things. I may have caught 3 or 4 after that, but then I just got too dang tired because, yay, Florida, we're back at 90 degrees again. So, all being said, I had a great day of flying, but I haven't been able to get back out since. But I've got some small projects on the bench before Flight Fest, so I need to get my Explorer done and maidened. It's all finished. I just need to actually put, linkages and so forth on all the servos. And I need to button up everything on my mini Mustang. But other than that, that's me. I'm very, very happy with progress so far. So this week I'm going to have some time to work on those little things.
Cool.
How about you, Ed? What has been going on in the world of RC on your neck of the woods?
Oh, not as much as I wish I could say. The latest project is, I guess you could call it a Pylon racer-ish kind of design. It's a 50-inch wingspan, symmetrical wing, tapered, which is weird for me. CF boom. And just the tiniest pod that I can get all the electronics in, battery, receiver, and so forth, that's become a challenge in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But the idea is just to be able to haul ass around, maybe break 100 miles per hour with foam board, which I think would be a small coup. Cool.
Nice.
So I'll probably maiden it once or twice here and then break it out at Flight Fest for real action.
That's fantastic.
So looking forward to that.
It's just way overpowered. 4-cell. That's my first foray into 4 cells. And,
no way to break in a 4-cell like a 100-mile-an-hour plane.
Why not, right?
Exactly.
That's great.
WTF entries, a high lift, blown wing, and then a very large wingspan, twin pod, twin boom, kind of crazy. It was going to be an aileron-less design. That didn't turn out to fly so well, so I'm going to put some ailerons on it and see if I can actually just make it fly around really slow, really long time. Maybe an hour and a half would be nice.
Yeah, I definitely want to get into the blown wing with you when Joel says time's appropriate to do that.
Okay, sure.
I think that's code for Patrick is chomping at the bit, and can he please start asking the questions that we have lined up? And the answer is yes. Go ahead, Patrick.
Good.
You can start us off.
Good. So yeah, I mean, since you mentioned the blown wing concept, if Mike and Joel, if you guys haven't seen this video, basically what it has done is he's taken one of his square tubular fuselages, put an EDF motor in the front of it. It's open in the front, and that blows air in, and it's ducted to the wings, which are of course hollow. They're folded foam board, and he's got, I don't know, 1 billion little holes along the peak of the wing, and blows air back over the rear half of the wing. And I assume, Ed, what you're going for there is to, as the angle of attack gets higher and higher, you keep air stuck to the wing as opposed to separating and stalling.
Yeah, that's the idea.
Okay.
If you haven't already, Google up jet wing,
Mhm.
which was a design out west, and I saw this in Denver about 6 months ago. I was on a business trip, and I stopped by the aviation museum there, and it was a very small plane, like Cessna sized, and it had a jet motor, and it vented off some of the compressor air and did just what you described. And it could apparently fly about 40, 50 miles per hour, used car gas, or some means that they could follow and land on roads and fuel it up from cars. And could fly really, really slow, land really, really short. And that was kind of intrigued me. So yeah, it does just what you said. It sort of blows the laminar flow from the most cambered part of the wing back over down to the trailing edge, and conceivably over the flaps as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
It's a
a
neat
really
idea.
cool
And then,
idea.
like, you have mounted above that the prop, the motor and prop that drives it. So the EDF is simply there to blow air through the wings.
Yeah, totally. And it's a very inefficient setup. It's going to suck up a lot of amps just for a small effect. But
Yeah, and you know those vane axial fans like EDFs, they can't handle a lot of static pressure. So you know it's going to be a challenge to get enough to really get a lot of air moving through there, I bet.
yeah, exactly. Like a centrifugal compressor would be way better, but
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
for $10, I'll give it a shot. Look what I got.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, why not?
Eh,
That
I
sounds very
mean,
interesting.
essentially, I mean, if it eliminates the need for vortex generators and it can do the same kind of idea, I mean, what's to say that? I mean, well, yeah, I think it's going to be far more effective than vortex generators by the sound of things if you can get it to work correctly.
Yeah. And
That's
so far, with
cool.
just a couple of flights, so far, it just, fortunately or unfortunately, it glides so well without the blowing system. It's hard to discern, like,
Right. I was going to ask you, how do you plan on quantifying this in some way, and if so, how? Because it's got to be a difficult thing, especially at that scale, to somehow measure a change in performance.
It's true. I mean, I'm open to any suggestions, but just sort of a full high alpha approach to landing. It has a certain distance, and then I turn on the blower, and I have to see if I can shorten that somewhat. It's hard to say.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
Well, it's a cool idea, and it looks neat.
Yeah, I have to admit.
I'm
Yeah,
looking
just
forward
looking.
to. I hope you're planning on making a video of the results of it.
Oh yeah, I sure will.
Good. Yeah, and you also mentioned your W2EF contest. You've got a contest going on right now, and do you want to tell the folks what WTF stands for? Since we all have a different definition in our heads.
Oh, weird. Yeah, for sure. Weird, technological, futuristic was my concept of that. And I used to do these contests quite frequently just to sort of elicit new and unique ideas from the community, like putting motors where they don't belong or adding control surfaces where you wouldn't expect them, that kind of thing. There was a seaplane contest. So this is just one to go kind of balls out, just as weird as you can think of, to make something that flies that you wouldn't think would fly.
Right. And is that your concept? Is the twin boom thing you were talking about, or is that a different plane?
That's one of mine,
Okay.
but by no means is that meant to limit the ideas of the entrance.
Well, in the pressurized wing, obviously, is something that's technologically futuristic.
Yeah.
And weird. Yeah. So, I think I saw where like the conclusion or somehow the deadline for this is Flight Fest. But
That's
you
right.
don't have to go to Flight Fest to enter.
Don't have to go. Just enter a video by that time.
Okay.
As cool as it would be to be at Flight Fest and showcase it there, you don't have to be there.
Right. Yeah, and you're giving away some kind of prizes.
Yeah, $100 store credit from TapePlanet.com, which that's been our standard sponsor for the contest, as well as a DX7 radio, which I've long cherished, but time to move on to the next owner. I'll throw in as a first or second prize for whoever wants it.
Cool. Well, after you came along, I imagine the profits of the colored packing tape companies doubled.
At least.
May have. I don't know. I don't hear anything about that, but they're very eager to sponsor. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm glad to have them do it.
That's awesome.
So that begs the question then, Ed. So what got you into the hobby?
Well, I've been in aviation since I was, arguably since I was like 5 years old. I'm one of those guys who always looks up when you hear or see a plane and watches it go over, and you know, you're nodding like you know what I'm talking about.
Oh
so.
yeah.
Exactly.
I think that's all three of us.
Yeah. And let's see. When I was in college, my mom got me a intro ticket. I fly in a Cessna 152 and just kind of cruise around and get an intro lesson. And then I finished college. I moved out to Arizona. Promptly got my pilot's license. Flew around 152s and 172s for about 2 or 3 years, and then decided to get into aerobatics.
Oh wow.
So I just said, well, for aerobatics, you need to wear a parachute. So why don't I go do a parachute jump just for fun, see what that's like? And then that became my main thing for about 3 or 4 years, skydiving. And then did that for 1,000 jumps or so. And then I was out camping with a friend, and he had a slow stick. Just a friend who was not in aviation at all. He was like a dirt bike and dune buggy kind of guy, and he had a slow stick. And I said, that's cool. That's electric. It's $50. Perfect. You know, so that signed me up for a slow stick. And I got the slow stick, and I decided, like, there's certain cool things you could do better with this, with raw materials and better components than you can get in the stock kit. So that led me into a Dollar Tree foam board. And I tried a bunch of different foam boards, some heavier, some stiffer, some more expensive, some cheaper. But you know, Dollar Tree foam board I think is the cheapest and the most versatile.
Yeah, I think you were probably the first guy that I ever saw that was really big into using it.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I tried other ones first. Let's see, Hobby Lobby is very stiff but very heavy, and you couldn't bend it. And I got the Dollar Tree foam board. I was like, it's not very stiff, but if you bend it into a three-dimensional design, then it gets really strong in certain ways. And so that's how I bent it over into a wing and said, like, man, that's pretty spot on. And that replaces a lot of like KF airfoils and like slab airfoils that just didn't quite do it for me, having flown scale aircraft and microlight trikes.
Yeah. Do you? I saw something on your video somewhere. You look like you were flying a powered hang glider or something like that. Do you own a ultralight or light sport or anything?
Yeah, I did from 2001 to 2010.
Okay.
I had a trike, which was a weight shift microlight, might call it, or light sport aircraft. Okay. So two-seater, ran on car gas, and could land in about 500 or 600 feet. Very versatile, very fun. Still took up a lot of time. So when I got married and started having kids, and when the 8-hour weekends turned into 4 hours, turned into 2 hours, it was more amenable to go flying at the park than go flying with your buds, to scale. So it was a lot of fun, though.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, someday I'll have something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were saying you started dabbling around with the Dollar Tree foam board. So at the time and this is obviously long before Flight Test came along, or other channels that came along. So what was it about Dollar Tree foam board that you were then like, okay, well, I need to do something to increase maybe the strength of this thing or make it a little bit more water resilient? What then kind of led you towards the packing? I'm going to call it this, the packing tape revolution.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I saw it on another channel. It was somebody meticulously covering an already built plane in colored packing tape. I don't know where they got the packing tape, and I can't remember the exact plane, but just very tediously covering it strip by strip by strip. And I said, man, I do not have the patience for that. But what if I take the whole piece, just cover it all at once, and then cut it down, keeping as much as I can into a wing or a fuselage and so forth. And that worked for me. So that was at the point that I decided that this is not a bad idea. I should make a channel, put this one wing idea up, call it something, see if guys run with it. And that's what I did.
And it took off.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, literally took off.
Yeah. No, it is. I mean, it's a really, what I like about your planes is, well, even you say it, they're very utilitarian. They're modular in nature. The techniques are fairly straightforward, but they fly great, and it's a strong construction when you're done with it.
Yeah, that's the idea. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm a fan. What can I say?
At the very least. But no, so talk about a little bit more, if you could, about the Armin wing, and so obviously you have a lot of knowledge about airfoils in general, but what kind of gave you that kind of idea to form? I'm almost trying to say, like, it kind of explain the process as to what developed the Armin wing and how that came to be.
Oh, sure. Well, it started with that the slow stick, which was an undercambered wing, piece of prefabricated bent foam, and then I started making flat airfoils, which were, they're okay if you overpower them, they work okay. And then I started sort of carefully and tediously sanding an upper and lower wing surface and gluing them together, and it was kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I've done that too. That's no fun.
Okay. And it seemed like a KF airfoil was the next step, and I just, having flown, Cessnas and parachutes and, the trike airfoils that I did, it just didn't appeal to me, that whole, like, captive, vortex kind of thing. I just didn't quite buy it, but I did. The appeal of building it easily did. And so I thought, how can I take this foam board and easily and quickly turn it into a quote-unquote real airfoil, one that resembles one that we're used to for scale airplanes. And then I came across the idea of just peeling off the paper in certain strategic areas on the inside of the upper skin to fold it over, and then just kind of hit, like, wow, that's really quite easy to fold over and glue it and hit a real airfoil. So that's how it came up with. And I thought, well, I should give it a name, like, instead of people going on the forums and saying, it's that wing that you, like, fold like this and glue like that, and I'll just name it after my son, and it's got a quick and easy name that people can say, like, oh, that's an Armin wing. I know that. I know what that means.
Yeah, it's really become very synonymous of pretty much all Dollar Tree foam boards, because the flight test wing is slightly different in the way that it breaks, but essentially it's an Armin wing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you take a piece of foam board, you fold it over on itself with an airfoil shape, and as far as I know, Ed's the guy that did that. So.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm not the first guy to do that. I'm just the first guy maybe to make a movie or make a video that a lot of people saw.
I agree with you 100% on the KF airfoils, and I don't know quite why I'm not a fan of them either. Maybe just because you don't see full-scale airplanes flying around with them.
Yeah.
But this is what I started working on yesterday, and I went with the KF4. It's going to be a slope soar, so it just doesn't really matter, I don't think. But I'm totally on board with your opinion of the KF airfoil, and I don't know why.
Yeah, they have advantages. I mean, ease of build for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I went with it on this, because short of doing a built-up wing, I don't know how I would have gotten that.
Yeah, no doubt.
So.
Yeah, no, that definitely could be a little bit of a challenge. It almost reminds me of going back and thinking about the flight test episodes as well, and looking at the plane like the Funbat when it was originally conceived with I think it's a K2 airfoil, and then seeing the difference in the way that it flew with just a simple 5-brake wing. So yeah, it amazing. I absolutely loved it, and this is totally changing the subject a little bit, but I actually have to kind of thank you, Ed, for getting me into the hobby, because if it wasn't for your airfoils and Lucas Weekly, who created his Maker Trainer from the Armin wing, I wouldn't be in the hobby, because I needed a really inexpensive way to break into it. And if it wasn't for the Armin wing and Dollar Tree foam board airplanes, I wouldn't be sitting here at this discussion. So I have to say a big thank you for sharing with the world this airfoil, and really making it very, very accessible to break into this hobby.
Oh, buddy, that's great to hear. I get, it's the email that I get once or twice a week like that keeps me going, making videos as I do. So I'm glad to help.
Yeah, well, and I will say, Ed, now Pat and I can blame you for getting Joel into the hobby.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm a host because of Ed.
Ed's fault.
Always good. Always good. Thank you.
Yeah, always.
So, yes. Oh, well, let's see. So, yeah, we kind of dived into quite a lot of these questions already.
Yeah.
And I know Patrick will probably come up with more on the fly as well.
Well, I've got more.
I'm sure you do. I'm going to quickly jump in with a great question. So going back to the whole flight test thing a little bit, and talking about kind of your involvement with flight test, going all the way back to the original J. Scott. Can you talk about the J. Scott a little bit, and what was the inspiration for the J. Scott, and kind of the features of it, and maybe talk about like how it's a great idea for a beginner airplane?
Yeah, but if I could just jump in, I remember watching the J. Scott episode the first time it came out, and I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. Then I rewatched it again a couple of days ago. You pack so much clever stuff in that airplane. It's awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Well,
yeah, it's cool.
I mean, the main impetus was that Josh Bixler, who I adore, but he was getting all the credit with the Bixler, of course, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And I thought Josh Scott just needed a plane named after him. So I liked the idea of weapons and bomb dropping, which was something that I was kind of into at the time. Pretty basic wing, tail dragger. Landing gear is not one of my usual things, but I build it into a certain aircraft that have to perform missions like dropping things. And so I just kind of put those all together into the J. Scott, and it was, like most of my planes, just kind of a logical combination of the dimensions of working with the dimensions of the foam board, not going too wacky. It was 30 inches long plus the tail and the power plane, of course, and I think it was 45 inches wingspan, so it wasn't like too excessive on the wingspan. And I had some really great help on the graphics by a guy I met who entered one of the contests, Roman Serebryakov, who was just naturally talented at creating the graphics that resemble Josh, and the Bixlers that it shot down, the J. Scott shot down, and other stuff. And that really like put it over the edge of making it look cool. So
yeah, I just kind of want to go over. I've got a little list here of some of the features that I thought were really cool in that. First of all, your drop bay that could carry an entire soda can was pretty cool. You had a folding wing where the spar slid out. You could fold the wing up for transportation, unfold it, slide the spar in, then you had another piece you put in, and it kind of capped it and held it all in place. That was really clever. The landing gear just clipped in and clipped out. Like there was a little screw and then a couple little other things that it kind of wedged into. And that was really clever. You had here's what I want to really ask you about is what is the nature of that hand adjustable motor mount that's in it? It's just like a piece of sheet metal that's bent that you can just kind of take and tweak the motor, or what do you have going on in there?
Oh, out of all the things you just mentioned, that's the thing I'm least proud of because it's the lowest tech. It's just a little piece of okay, to back up a little bit, when I lived in Arizona, I live in Virginia now, but many people have swimming pools, and of those, many of them have saltwater swimming pools, and the chlorine generator for those pools is a sort of a stack of titanium plates coated with rhodium through which electricity is pumped, and that turns the salt in solution into chlorine.
Okay.
And so once in a while these things die, about every 3 or 4 years, and so you can harvest these. You have friends, you have your own pool, and you cut these things out. So it's like a 2 millimeter piece of titanium, and you can bend into an L shape, drill holes into it, and then screw your motor to that, and then mount that inside your plane. So it's very light, and it's just the right amount of flexible so that you can, it's stiff to accept the motor, but you can bend it if you need to get a little down thrust, a little up thrust, right or left. It's very handy stuff while I could get a hold of it, but now I've got what I've got from Arizona, and that's the end of it, I think.
Oh, okay. Huh. Titanium motor mount. Yeah, that doesn't sound low tech at all to me. Yeah, no, I mean, if there's folks out there listening to us and you haven't seen the J. Scott airplane episode, go and watch it from the aspect. Just look at what he's put into that plane, and there's a lot of thought that went into that, and there's some really clever stuff that I think I'll be stealing as the years go on here.
Yeah, but I think the retractable spar is a very underutilized idea. You can take up to, let's say, a 60-inch wingspan and use a 30 or 40-inch spar, and then either push it in with another piece, or I've worked on a design now that you pull it into the proximal, or the piece that's facing you, with a piece of string. It's very light and a good way to, join a couple of long wings into a very solid unitary wing.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
Yep. Now,
Sorry, I'm just going to pause the conversation real quick for a moment and welcome a very special gentleman to the Q&A for his first time making a Q&A appearance. No appearances. Tim Michael, aka the Aussie Newbie, is here in live chat and Q&A with us. Hey!
Hi, Tim.
We have a question from Tim. Tim would like to know what motor and battery we used in the J. Scott.
That was a Hobby King Turnigy AK, same thing, 2836 1100 kV motor. The exact designation eludes me, but it's a pretty common motor. And it was a 2.2 amp hour Turnigy Nanotech, which was recommended, and I think they used. And that's my so-called workhorse. That's the mid-size plane motor that I recommend and use a lot for the kind of like 400 to 600 gram plane size. Seems to do the trick, and it's very inexpensive.
And that's running usually a 25 amp you run with that?
I usually go about at least 30, if not 40 amp, just to be on the safe side. It's usually only $2 or $3 more. Why not just have that margin of safety?
What are you running? A 9, 10-inch, 8-inch prop on that?
That is a 9 by 4.7 that I prefer on that one.
947. Okay. Yeah, that's it. It's funny you say that because that motor combination with a 25 amp is the exact setup that I'm currently running in my FT Explorer. So, and I'm going to be running an 8-inch, an 8.6, I believe, on that. So, I'm interested to see that you put a 30 to 40 amp on it. It's tempting me to go up in the amps a little bit to cover my butt a little bit on that most combination. So it's not a bad idea, and you're 100% right. Give yourself a little bit more amp room to maneuver just in case you do anything detrimental to the throttle control, which I have a nasty habit of doing.
Yeah, I've never had a mishap so far, but just err on the side of capacity if you can.
Yeah, one of my funny stories. Are you familiar with the Raiden that was designed by Kevin Matusik?
Vaguely so, yeah.
Yeah, that I was running a Blue Wonder with a 1047 and a 6 amp ESC.
Oh, well.
So,
Okay.
yeah, you can probably tell. Well, the first one I ran was a 6 amp, then I ran a 10 amp, and both of them went dead stick.
Understood.
I set a 25 amp speed controller on fire inside a gymnasium once. It smells really bad. They transferred me to another school the next year. I think that might have had something to do with it.
I can't imagine why.
Only Patrick. Only Patrick.
I really bet it didn't have anything to do with the ESC either.
No, absolutely.
Oh, it smelled awful.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Actually, I have a C-Wind that I burn up a 30 amp ESC and got it wet.
Oh, that's funny. I think we've all had experience accidentally burning out things that we really shouldn't be.
This flames and all.
Oh, yeah, I had never got to that point.
Yeah. Oh, no, flames and everything. Yeah, when you get them wet, they tend to go pretty quick.
I can imagine. So we were talking about DLGs earlier, and I know in a recent video you've been tinkering around with some carbon fiber boom concepts out of arrow shafts, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, originally I used carbon arrow shafts, and lately I've been using some sort of more proper carbon fiber tubes from Radical RC and whatever source you like, but they seem to be much better quality, about the same price, and longer. But I am desperate for help with DLGs because I have no experience, no guidance at all, and that's sort of piecemealed it together. So
there's this guy. His name is Josh Finn.
Okay.
And we might be able to put you in touch with him. This guy he's pretty sharp. And Dan, who was on before we started recording, he has a lot of luck with him too. But Josh Finn, he just a couple months ago was over in, was it Romania, competing for the FA1 indoor endurance. He was like one of 3 people on the United States team. This guy's he's the real deal.
Wow.
Yeah, he knows how to make things that are really, really light fly really, really well and for long times.
Okay, I'm all about it.
And don't ask me about DLGs because I have this really great habit of letting them go to the very tip of a stall and just not doing anything about it and letting them come right back to where they were launched from.
That seems to be my default behavior as well. Like it just, nose up, and I lose half the altitude to come straight back down, and then I can just barely make a landing out of it.
Yeah, that's what you call a very, very hard stall. And if you, the thing with the DLG is, and I've learned this now with my 7 or 8 hours of flying with mine now, that when you launch it, so you launch it obviously to the horizon, and with the inertia, it just carries it up to altitude. So when you get to, I'm trying to do this to the camera, but also explain verbally so that audio listeners get a sense of this. When it goes up to the peak, almost the very, very peak of its altitude, just before it hits the stall, is when you're supposed to porpoise the nose over and then just give it a little bit of down, just take it and give it a little bit of airspeed as you go into your thermal hunting mode. And what I found is, with me especially, because I get very scared of that. It's thinking about hard stalling and start coming back this way. Is I've been actually launching and just to practice, putting it in and just about 75, 80 feet, just pushing that nose over and just keeping it on that level trajectory. Now, that's not the proper way of doing it from what I've been told by Josh and Dan, but comfort level, it definitely makes it more comfortable for you to get into that thermal hunting mode when you do that. And I've noticed that if you give yourself a hard enough toss, that you can actually get it to kind of naturally porpoise back over, so you'll kind of see what happens with the nose as it starts to come up, and then slowly drop as it's kind of climbing out of it. As you'll want and horribly, and Josh and Dan will both correct me in time.
Very
Or
good.
laugh at you afterwards.
So
Yes,
giving a proper
they
toss
probably
does
will.
not make one a tosser, does it?
Not from where I come from, no. I will give you the full definition in post show.
Copy that.
And it was and you know what? We said at the beginning of the show to Ed that he could take stabs at us whenever he felt necessary. That was his very first attempt, and he got me first.
Good choice.
Just throw that out
Choice,
there. I'll just point out that it's always me who's the first target for any verbal abuse, so I'll take it happily.
Very good. I don't mean to take away from your perfect explanation of DLG flying.
Trust me, that was not perfect.
That was another good one, Ed.
Oh, that was not perfect at all. But no, honestly, I love the idea because Nick, help me out, guys. Nick, what's his name? Nerd Nick. Nick Leshner. Was last year for a short while tinkering around with a foam board DLG also. And I was interested to kind of see where your comparisons were, because yours actually uses a full Armin wing, just a thinner cord, and he had sandwiched two sheets just like this, and he'd done the tapered front, so it was very very narrow Dollar Tree foam board wing. So I'm kind of interested to see where your Dollar Tree foam board DLG evolves as time progresses.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, excuse me. Sorry about that. I'll edit that out.
Nah, leave it in.
And by the way, since we're on talking about like thermals and all that kind of thing, looks like Susan Connolly is asking if we have any thoughts of the new Radian XL, and I will speak to this only because I have a Radian and none of the rest of you guys do. Not that I can see anywhere. So, nope, I don't see any.
Trying.
I'm giving you a hard time.
That one. I'm almost there. Give me a few weeks.
Susan, I like the looks of it. I like the size of it, especially. I'm a little interested to see how that three-piece wing's going to work out. So, I think it could be a fun airplane. If it flies anything the original Radian, this thing's going to be a ball to fly. So we're kind of waiting to see when that actually gets released, and when it comes out, I'm sure that actually the flight test after our guys will probably have one really quickly, and I would say by Flight Fest 16, I will probably fly one.
Yeah, we'll probably see a few show up there, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would say so. So anyway, hope that answers your question.
I'm banned from things that are large, so that will not likely be in my inventory.
Now, Mike and I were actually talking about the XL a couple of days ago when we were on the we were hanging out on the Google thing or whatever we were doing, and my first thought was, I don't know, the Radian's such a sweetheart of an airplane. Why would you feel the need to go make it any bigger? Is it going to be any better? And Mike, your opinion is bigger is better because you like size because that's how you are.
Yes.
Anything
larger flies better.
Yeah,
that's
all
all there is to it.
If the wing loading, I guess it would. If the wing loading's the same or even a little bit lower because of the advantage in scaling up, it might be better in catching thermals. Catch later thermals maybe. I don't know, but
the only real upgrade I saw on that XL is the spoilers.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know that it's going to fly a lot different until you start activating the spoilers. Of course, then it's going to slow down something amazing.
Yeah.
Is it 3-channel or 4-channel?
Well, it's really a 3. There's no ailerons, so it's just spoilers that come straight up out of the wing. just to slow it
Well,
down. It looks really cool. So
What I'm really hoping it does is drive down the price of the regular Radian so I can get one.
there you go.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, please. My birthday's coming up. Did I mention that?
Yeah, you did, in
just,
fact.
You just did. What are you going to be,
For anyone
23
who
now?
wants to...
Yeah, how old are you going to be, Joel?
Listen, I'm in the middle of my quarter-life crisis, okay? So you work it out.
There you go.
I'm in the middle of a quarter-life crisis, so 1 year past that. So I've got some craziness to happen between now and
That's
June
totally
14th.
dependent on how long you're going to live, Joel, and I can't predict that.
Well,
it depends
course
on
of
how you
life...
keep talking.
Yeah, that's true. Alright, I'm going to be quiet now. And I'm out. So,
Anyway.
going back to
Moving
Q&A,
along.
moving along the train.
I'll be back in
Going
a
back
moment,
to you,
guys.
Ed. So, yeah, go for it. Ed, so we were just talking about flying bigger planes, and I know that your image on our Google Hangout is, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the drone, right? I don't remember the name of it.
The Ansley Peace Drone.
There you go, the Peace Drone. I knew it was like something Peace Drone. It's awesome, by the way. So tell us a little bit, what is the, because I know it breaks down really well, but what was the kind of the concept behind it, and are you planning on building anything bigger?
Well, that is indeed the flagship of my sort of fleet, and it started with my entree into FPV, in fact. So I started with trying to build a standard planform plane but with a pusher motor, and I realized that I have to put the wings so far aft to get the CG situated that it was just kind of ridiculously close to the tail. So I just kind of on a whim thought, what if I just make it a canard, and it balanced quite right. And I'm all about weird stuff like that, so I went with the canard, and it was a nice balance between just like a 30-inch fuselage, 30-inch canard, 60-inch main wing. So there was very few cuts, and it worked like a charm. And so that's been my kind of workhorse ever since. Gotten up to an hour-long flights, which is not that impressive, but just like off-the-shelf batteries, it's pretty good.
That's pretty impressive to me, buddy.
Oh, thanks. Some pretty high altitudes, which I don't know if I can legally state that right now.
400 feet's very high.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Many multiples of 400 feet. And
That's 400 feet many times, he's saying.
Yes, absolutely. 400 feet times multiple. So, yeah, he was legal, we promise.
400 feet. He's fine.
And yeah, like you said, it breaks down very nicely. So there's very little, as I see it, like wasted surface. So the vertical, the wingtips or winglets are also the vertical stabilizers. There's no tail per se, and the whole fuselage is populated by electronics if you need to, or batteries and so forth. So yeah, it's kind of nice.
So really, if you were going for something that would be really inexpensive and something that you want some hang time out of, that sounds like it would be a good platform to say I don't know, an aerial drone for mapping or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on a budget and you're building out a foam board like us, I think it's pretty good. I was recently approached by an NGO in Switzerland to build a drone for them to monitor certain humanitarian situations around the world.
Wow.
And they wanted to very cheaply just fly a camera over like refugee camps or war-torn areas and kind of take a look and then fly back home, or just take the video and then crash the thing because it's so cheap.
Right, disposable.
Yeah. So
are you working on that?
I built one for them and sent it to them, and they have to see what they think about it so far.
Wow, that's exciting, man. That's really exciting.
That's awesome. Very cool.
Yeah.
So the question, will you build it bigger?
Oh, any plane or that particular one?
Any of the planes. Is there something in the pipeline that you're thinking about going even bigger than that?
It's a great question, because 60 inches seems to be the sort of soft limit to foam board wings. I've built up to 120 inches, but it was very sketchy to get a spar that was strong enough to support that. And I feel like a 90-inch wingspan with properly placed weights, like not in the midline, but out on the maybe like pile or a twin motor with the batteries placed out on the wings, not in the midline, might support something like a 90-inch wingspan or even bigger. So my WTF plane that's not the blown wing one, but the other one, is a much bigger wing, and I hope that that's going to play out. And a bigger wingspan, yeah.
Sounds good.
Now, speaking of wings and reinforcements and spars and such, you did some testing of spar designs, and you found that your 3-layer horizontal spar worked better than a vertical spar, or basically an I-type beam. And Austin Fury got sassy with you and said they disagree. And I think you guys should wrestle for it at Flight Fest.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, I think we could sell tickets in the tent for that.
Well, I'll start by saying Austin is the man. Like, he treated me so well last year. He's a good
guy.
He's great, man. I did not detect any sassiness. In fact, I must have done an end run around my whole,
I was maybe embellishing there.
Okay.
Maybe a little. Yeah, we were trying to make
completely.
I think he's trying to go to fight.
No, dude, I'm open to criticism. Like, my observations were like apples to apples. The stacked spar formers were stronger but heavier. Mm-hmm. And if you were going to go like medium to heavy loads, that's probably the way to go. But if you're going light and sort of finesse, the Flight Test way is probably the way to go. So, there's no perfect way to go about any of these things. You just got to consider your priorities.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with box spars
hey,
at
as
all?
long as it works.
One more time?
Have you experimented with box spars at all?
Actually, no. That sounds really enticing, but so far I've just done foam board or carbon fiber.
Yeah, you would need a pretty thick wing. You would be looking at something pretty darn large, I think, if you were going to go... Well, like a carbon fiber box tube would be fine on a regular-sized plane, but if you were going to go Dollar Tree foam board in a box, that I think you're really driving the airfoil thickness, which drives the cord, which drives the plane. And
well, the thing I'm thinking about is because Experimental Airlines is all about the concept of doing tubular structures using either the full length or the width of the foam board. So if you did that same kind of concept, but you went kind of smaller, I mean, yeah, I agree, Patrick, you probably would want to have a bigger wing, like thicker cord in order to do that, but I still, if you're talking about doing potentially a 90-inch wing, using the same kind of idea and doing like a tube, like the same way that you would do like a noob tube kind of thing without cutting off the ends, and then maybe placing that inside the wing. I'd just be curious to see what the strength would be if you were to do that.
Huh. That's kind of enticing, actually, yeah. If we could do it and keep it cheap, which is kind of one of my main maxims, is to keep it simple and cheap. I kind of like that.
Yeah. It's just it made me think about it because in planes like the Mini Guinea, help me out guys, which other ones have it? The Mini Guinea, the Explorer to a certain extent, the FT Arrow, all have but they don't complete the box. You only get kind of the tabletop on top of the bottom surface of the wing, and then the airfoil sits on top. Right. Yeah. I'm thinking because you specialize in the tubes, if you could come up with a better way of doing that, but you would get, depending on how you do it, you could potentially get longer than 30 inches because if you go at a diagonal, you'll get a little bit longer.
Oh.
But I don't know. I'm just that's me throwing out there.
You should run with it, man.
I don't know. I've got so much going on between now and Flight Fest, it's probably not going to happen for me. But you're welcome to take my idea and run with it.
I've played around with taking foam board, like I doubled it up and it was oriented vertically, and then I took veneer and I laminated veneer on the outsides of it, and that was fairly strong and still really light.
I bet. Yeah, that sounds smart.
Mike, when was the last time you built one of those wings?
Darth Vader's here again.
He's back.
Oh, he is back. That would have been my Storch, and it's sitting right over there. So yes, Joel, I have built one, and it's sitting right there.
Stand by for one moment while Vader passes.
This happens every podcast, Ed.
Every podcast, Ed. So.
Are we at the hour mark right now?
Hour 5.
Yeah, just a touch over.
Hour
Yeah,
5.
It always happens right at that hour.
Yep.
Huh.
Is it getting better? I tried to adjust the ATAP and it didn't work. Sorry, everybody.
No, I tell you what, while you're waiting on that, I want to go ahead and say something about somebody else real quick, only because I just saw the video 2 days ago. Dale Stratton, which is Local Fiend on the forums. If anyone is familiar with the old PC game, Crimson Skies, they had a number of airplanes in this thing, and one of them was the Devastator. And he has just built this thing. And
it flies.
actually flew it 2 days ago. He made it 2 days ago, and this thing
awesome.
flies unbelievable. And he's actually going to skin it with graphics and everything. And I cannot wait to see this thing completely finished. He will have it out at Flight Fest 16, and I'm going to beg him for plans because guess what, guys? I don't normally build. I have to build this airplane.
If nothing else gets Mike to build, it will be this plane. That is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if you don't know what Crimson Skies is, it's a game that was out maybe about 10 years ago.
10 to 15,
something like that. Yeah, and basically it was kind of set. It's retro futuristic steampunk kind of 20s ish.
No, it was 40s.
Somewhere in that whole
Like if
Art
Germany
Deco.
would have won the war, kind of sort of thing. Zeppelins and oh my God, it was the coolest game. I played that game probably 4 to 5 hours a night every night for like 4 years.
The Devastator is a canard design that looks like an X-wing.
Yeah,
and it's
a
awesome.
biplane canard and with massive machine guns.
And
Like,
it also looks very
massive.
similar to a Corsair, only the wings are in the back and there's a canard in front. And of course, it is a bi-wing, like an X-wing kind of thing. Just unbelievable looking airplane. And Dale has figured it out and has actually flown it a couple of times now, and even flew it in the winds of like 15 to 18 miles an hour. In the show notes, there will be a link to the Maiden, and subscribe to Dale, aka Local Fiend. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, the guy does
Just
some
amazing.
really cool stuff. He's the guy I talked about a while back that had that Zero that was on floats or something.
Yes.
Yep.
He does some really cool stuff.
Can I just say
really
that
cool stuff.
I was super impressed at the fact that it tracked, kid you not, on rails the entire flight. It did not divot from its flight path even a little bit. It was incredible.
Beautiful airplane. Ed, you need to take a look at it. It's neat.
Sweet.
I don't usually threaten to steal airplanes, but Dale, you better hide that thing.
Well, if it's skinned, he better hide it because I will flat steal it. And I've never been a thief in my life. So.
No, nor me. Nor me. Huh, that was a really good segue. So thank you for bringing that one up, Mike. Because I wanted to bring that up during the show. So thank you.
God, that plane's so cool.
Unbelievable.
And not taking anything away from anything you're doing, Ed, because what you're doing is fantastic. But I had to mention that airplane because I love that game so much.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It is really cool. So
We will definitely be plugging that. Going back to our Q&A, and I know I was earlier talking about the Gotha Gaggle. Ed, are you familiar with the happenings of the Gotha Gaggle?
Yeah, a little bit. There's the Gotha, which is the parent ship, and then there's the planes that follow it, which have all these different skins on them that you can download and get sent to you and so forth.
hmm
Yes. Are
absolutely.
you going to be a participant in the Gotha Gaggle?
I would like to. I'm not sure if I can enter at this late date, but what do I need to do?
Okay,
Well,
so
and here's another question that we have: do you go on the forums much?
I don't as much as I should, man. I admit, like, I only post things when I have a big sort of project to throw up there I think is useful to other guys, but I don't go on there every day.
Okay. Well, there is a huge, and I mean huge thread. Um, Stephen Rosema, aka Rastrise, is actually doing the skins. Um, Dan Sponholz is actually the one that come up with the Baby Baron and the Baby Brit. And of course, Joshua Orchard, um, Wilson Man, is actually the one that built the Gotha and is it. Go out there, look up the Gotha Gaggle. All you got to do is just say, find either a Baron or a Brit skin that you would like to have. Find a picture of it somewhere on the internet. Make sure no one else has it, of course. Send it to him. He would be more than happy to get you a skin, and he'll send you the PDF. Ask you for your email. He'll send you a PDF of the skin so you can print out yourself. And the plans are up on FT, so up on Flight Test, Flight Test. God.
Cool, man. Cool. All right.
It's really cool, and I think there's 40 some people in it now already.
something ridiculous, yeah. So the question then becomes, for which side will you fly? Will you fly with the Axis and fly a baby Baron, or will you be a mighty Britain and join the Brits and the Allies?
Oh boy, I think I gotta go Axis, man. If it's a Gotha.
Ah!
That's right. Right on.
You do. You know, out of every host, I am the only one flying with the Allies. The only one. Oh,
And I am an American, but I mean, I have to support Joshua Orchard. I have to support him.
Not that I blame you any. However, baby Brit forever.
But yeah,
Yes,
it's
and
going
if
to be a cool thing. And I do know something else too, and I don't know if it's going to happen. So we're kind of waiting and see what happens. But apparently, in 2008 at Null, I believe it was, they had 99 airplanes in the air at once for 1 minute, and it was a some type of a world record. So I think during this, maybe during the Gotha Gaggle or right around it, we're going to try to get more airplanes than that in the air, but we don't know if we're going to be able to get a record or not because it takes a lot of time to get Guinness and all that kind of stuff. So.
Wait, I thought an average combat session was more than 100 planes.
I thought so too, but I mean, I don't think we ever made it official. So.
Oh, we can crash.
Yeah,
that.
you have to actually. Well,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, just get a good combat going at Flight Fest. I'm sure that will happen.
Yeah. Well,
Speaking
you have to
of,
remember, it's got to be a minute. Every plane's got to be in the air for at least a minute. After that, chaos can ensue.
yeah, well, exactly. Well, my question then is, Ed, I'm guessing you've been at Flight Fest every year. Is that correct?
Actually, only the last year. So I
Oh,
do it-
okay.
Yeah.
Ah, so I was under the impression you were at 14 as well.
I want to ask you about your camping setup, Ed, because I know you, at least at the first couple of days, you were out in the mud bog of the alfalfa field.
That's right.
Kind of out behind the house, and you had what looked like was like kind of an A-frame set up on the bed of your truck. What was going on there?
Well, I stopped at a Home Depot about halfway between Virginia and Ohio and got a couple of insulation boards, like a inch and a quarter aluminized insulation board. And this is a derivation of something I'd seen at Burning Man, like very peripheral to that, but it just made it, yeah, like a roof with duct tape. And me and my son camped under that in the bed of the truck, man. It was
That's
super cheap
awesome.
and comfy.
That's awesome.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that guy's clever.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
That is
It's-
absolutely
And
brilliant.
speaking of Burning Man, I have to ask you about that because I don't think I've ever spoken to someone that has been to Burning Man, and I've always wanted to just like experience that. That just has to be like being in a different universe.
It's true. Like the more times I've been, the harder it is to explain. I've been 5 times. 2 times with, let me think, 2 times with my family in some part, and then the third time with my whole family, once completely by myself, and then once with some friends. So 5 times. It's a very artistic, music-oriented, art-oriented sculptures, like sort of open-minded, kind of do your own thing. It's like Flight Fest without the flying part, but everything else you can imagine. It's definitely a camping kind of thing. Very hard to explain. I encourage you to watch some videos on YouTube. And
Oh, I have. I would love to
Yeah.
experience it. It's just so different than your day-to-day experience that I think it would be amazing.
it is. I mean, the main paradigm is nothing is for sale, which is a relief, except for coffee and ice. Everybody's self-sufficient, so you're on your own per se, but everybody kind of relies on each other, which is kind of Flight Festy too.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and whatever that the thing is that you do that you enjoy the most is the thing that the community appreciates the most. So at Flight Fest, it's like it's flying and building. There, it could be building a huge burning sculpture or some interpretive art or playing music and so forth. So it's
Riding a 2-person bike around naked.
yeah, whatever your thing is, that's where you do it.
That's really cool.
That
And
would be something to see.
yeah, and I did because I'm a hospitality major over here, so I studied events, and Burning Man was one that I had studied. Out of all the events that I studied, it is by far the most interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the same way that everyone comes and brings something in, when everybody leaves, nothing is left behind.
That's right. Pretty much,
And it
yeah,
is
not a molecule
Crystal,
of waste.
yeah,
Well, that
it's
sounds
unbelievable.
like
It's unbelievable. I've never seen an event quite like Burning Man, and it's really interesting to hear the perspective from someone who's been and gone and seen it.
Joel, let's go.
Not this year, mate. I've got a trip to Ohio planned, so Burning Man ain't gonna happen. Sorry. And it's literally the other side of the country for me. Literally. So Ed, if you don't mind me asking the question, you previously mentioned you used to live in Arizona. So what prompted the move to Virginia short of getting away from the tremendous heat of the desert?
Well, there was definitely that, but mostly to be close to my family. I actually grew up in Virginia, went to high school and college here. I moved out when I completed grad school, just kind of sought my fortune and adventure out west. Took 20 years to accomplish that, and then came back to be close to my mom, my sister, my family back here.
And
awesome.
what do you do for a living?
It's hard to explain in a way that a layperson could understand, but I'm a medical records and medical coding consultant and auditor. So when you go see the doctor or you're in the hospital and there are medical records generated as a result of that, my company makes sure that they accurately represent the reality of your hospital or clinic encounter with the physician and so forth for research, for billing, and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, so my question to you is, because I did watch some of your videos up on your channel, at one time, I'm guessing you were a doctor or are a doctor?
I was a physician assistant for 11 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Because you were very intelligent about the description of your unfortunate pyrotechnic accident.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I was a PA in the middle of that. Did it for a little bit after that, and then gradually transitioned into what I do now. But
yeah. So that was the other thing I wanted to talk about is your not necessarily your pyrotechnic accident, but your pyrotechnic experiences, because it sounded to me like you were doing some pretty crazy stuff.
yeah, I was trying to make skydiving as cool as I could make it with, smoke and fire and whatnot, and I just pushed it right up to the limit and crossed the limit, man. It was a stupid mistake.
Yeah, well, I mean, hate to see it, but glad you're doing well, man. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Yeah,
Could be worse.
Yeah, after watching that, well, yeah, it could be a whole lot worse. But after watching that video and learning a little bit more about it, and understanding how you really explained how 90% of everything that was going on was in your head afterwards. That was really cool to hear, and man, I'm gonna direct a lot of people over to watch that, especially because of the attitude that you have. So I appreciate that, because I know a lot of people that have had, let's say, disabilities, and their attitudes are not near as good, and they need to pick it up a little. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great, man. Any way I can help.
Yeah, it was pretty fantastic. I mean, it was inspiring to me by all means. So, and the only mental, I should say the only problem I have is up here.
Yep.
And boy, those are some problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, at least
well,
I know
I think we all have those. Exactly. Moving on to some more light-hearted and fun things, other than Patrick's microphone attacking him. Do you dabble with anything else other planes? Is there anything in the hangar to take note of, or is there any areas of aviation other than, of course, your ultralights and full-scale aviation? Are there any other RC-related endeavors that you are enjoying?
Yeah, potentially. I mean, honestly, these days I'm sadly completely out of scale aircraft. Just mostly a budgetary and time constraint situation. But when I showed up in Richmond, a fellow recognized me in the Richmond airport from YouTube and said, "Hey, you're Ed from Experimental Airlines. You should come flying with us sometime." RC flying, that is. And is a really nice guy who's into RC, but also is building a Velocity scale plane in his garage.
Ooh, nice.
So he's a composite guy. So he's turning me on to some composite capabilities, and I'm going to start slow, like control surfaces and maybe just a fuselage tube. Still got to keep it cheap, keep it simple, but so composites are, I'm sort of proud yet ashamed to say at the same time, might be part of my future in in RC flying, if I can keep it, again, simple and cheap, accessible to other guys.
Yeah, I can give you simple and cheap. Minwax polyacrylic, and I'm looking up at my fiberglass hanging from the ceiling right now. 0.56 ounce per yard. Covering Dollar Tree foam board. That's not truly composites. That's just kind of a skinning of the thing instead of the crappy paper that's on it. But anyway, it's simple and it's cheap.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what I'm talking about.
It leaves a great surface for painting.
Nice.
Yeah, and when you're at Flight Fest, make sure to probably check out Joshua Orchard, because he does a lot of that kind of stuff.
Okay, great.
Yeah. He's giving a workshop on that.
Yes.
I think he's giving 2 workshops on hot wire cutting and one on that type of fiberglassing, and I'm going to be his lovely assistant. So stop by and say hi.
So cute.
I can't wait to see the sparkly outfit.
I'm so excited.
I just hope it's not too muddy for heels.
Oh man, I'm going to be at every one of the other building sessions. That's what I'm looking forward to more than giving my own, is going to the others.
I think I might just try to crash and hang out in the corner of every one.
Yep.
Not necessarily participate, but watch.
Yep. Oh, that's great. So Ed, when are you planning on arriving in Ohio?
I think Wednesday night, probably pretty late, but I'll be there all of Thursday through halfway through Sunday.
Nice.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Well,
Well,
that wraps my questions. Have you guys got any other additionals?
Well, definitely look us up when you're there, man. We're
Yeah,
also going to
please.
be doing. I assume we're doing a podcast from there. I know we haven't really officially.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. We're going to do a podcast.
Stop by. And,
Well, we're going to try to do something. Also, we're going to do a lot of recording of a lot of the guests and pilots and spectators, and
yeah,
we're
we
just going to
want
try
to
to
get
get a
the
full.
we want to get the people's perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually going to have one of the voice recorders instead of just my phone, so we can actually get some decent quality. Oh no, the phone's okay, but what happens when you run out of battery, bud? Then you don't have a phone or
I've got
nothing.
backup.
So,
Excuse me,
Yeah.
there are enough LiPo batteries at that venue that I will have no problem keeping my phone charged. I promise you that.
okay. Well, I think I'm going to get a regular, voice recorder just for this. So just so we can, have some high quality stuff as well.
Oh, without a doubt.
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to it. Can't wait to hang out with you a little bit, Ed. It's going to be a lot of fun. See what you got going on and what you bring with you. So
Definitely. Are you guys going to be officially volunteering?
absolutely.
Yep.
Well, I volunteered the last 2 years, and I will end up helping. As a matter of fact, I plan on getting there Tuesday to help set up and everything. But I'm not officially going to be on the volunteer list because I really want to take a year and just experience it. Like the last 2 years, last year I only flew one airplane, and that was Mike's Radian. So I kind of just want to be selfish for a year and, experience it from the whatever side of things.
But
Yeah.
he really isn't going to be not volunteering because
I'll be.
and I'm gonna but I gotta plug some of our stuff too while we're talking about Flight Fest because
Exactly.
of course the flight test community podcast build nights again are Thursday and Friday, and I know we're going to be at least there for witty comment if nothing else. While
witty commentary and somewhat assisting because let's face it, how helpful can we really be?
well, how helpful can I be? I don't build, so.
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Ben Greenwald and Eddie Black, also to Tommy. I'm going to say Amour, even though it's Tommy Armour. We're going to say Amour because
Tommy Love.
yeah, it Tommy Love.
Tommy Love.
But yeah, we've got build nights on Thursday night and Friday night. Really looking forward to those, and of course I'm going to be working the registration and probably be doing some shuttle driving. What are you up to at Flight Fest?
Well, first of all, this is my very first Flight Fest, so I'm extremely excited about it. I will be arriving at 9 p.m. On Tuesday with a full day of travel behind me. Yay. But I will be, I don't know if Andre officially has me on the lists, but I will be on the build tents and registration. So I don't know exactly if that's official yet, but that was my request. So I will obviously be floating for our build night on both of those two, either as part of the witty, plucky commentary or assisting those guests who will be building the airplanes. Because whatever Ben decides to throw me on, I will happily do it. But yeah, no, my goal of Flight Fest is to really kick. Yeah, exactly. Kick back and enjoy the event. I will be camping, so it's going to be a really, really good time. And even though Patrick is going to yell at me for it, my entire fleet is coming with me.
Nice.
So, what about you, Ed? Are you volunteering at all other than the build series stuff?
Yeah, I plan to. Build tent sounds great. I'm not really sure what the official designations are, but just
Have you not signed up?
I haven't yet.
Oh, okay.
But will.
I'll make sure that knows you're coming, and build dense is going to be where you'd like to be. So we'll at least get that. And if you get on the forums, there's a place. Actually, if you go out to flightfest.com, there's a place to volunteer, and you put it in there, and I'll make sure he knows that you're going to, and hopefully you'll get, I won't say preferential treatment, but yeah, probably a little.
Yeah, I think you probably
We'll try to move it that way.
But
Cool.
I mean, I can't promise anything, but hopefully, Andre can.
Ed, what's your forum username?
My forum username, I think, is XAir.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Excellent. And Ed, if people want to get in touch with you, obviously they can follow you on YouTube as Experimental Airlines. But how else can they find you?
That same name at gmail.com is the next best way, just to email me straight up. Comments and remarks they're fine on YouTube, but not the most direct. I don't have a chance to check them very frequently, so Gmail is the best way.
Fantastic. And do you go on the socials at all? Are you an Instagrammer?
I'm sad to say I'm not, man. I think I'm two or 3 years past the demographic to do that.
Yeah, you're right there with me then.
Guys,
young
I'm 52 and I do it all, but I don't do it enough.
Yeah, well, Mike, it's okay. You're forgiven. I follow you quite well, and you put a good number of clips out there. You're good.
Yeah,
You're an unofficial Instagrammer in some capacity. You're better than Patrick. Patrick doesn't post anything.
I don't Insta anything. I Facebook. That's it. That's enough for me.
Yeah, nothing he does in it.
No one wants to follow Patrick anyway. Let's face it.
Yeah, why would they?
So, with that being said, I think we're getting ready to close out for the night. We're getting on an hour and 30 minutes already. So, where can everyone find you, Patrick?
Facebook. That's it.
Facebook.
Patrick Sean Murphy.
Sean Murphy.
Yeah, the script. You can also find him posting frequently on the page.
On the forum. On I Teach.
Yes, I teach. Yep. What about you, Mikey? Where can people find you at?
They can find me on Facebook as Michael Finley. They can find me on the forums as The Magic One. They can email me at themagicone@gmail.com. I don't know. Instagram is, I think, Mike Finley. Twitter is The Magic One.
God.
He
has every social.
Yeah, I told you I got a lot of them. I'm on Google, and of course, I'm always on the Flight Test Community Cast, Facebook and Google and YouTube. Oh yeah, my YouTube. Don't forget my YouTube. Go out and watch my touch and goes with my beaver.
The videos. Don't worry, we'll
How about Snapchat? Are you on
touch and goes with beavers. Oh, I have a plethora of show titles to choose from tonight. Oh boy. Okay. Alrighty then. Well, as I finally jot down the name of our last show title potential, you guys, if you are receiving messages back through Facebook, you can thank Mike for responding to our direct messages through Facebook. Mike has been kind enough to answer a good number of the questions that have been coming in through the page. So if you do have a message and you want to shoot us a line, definitely shoot us a message directly through our Facebook page. That's Flight Test Community Podcast. And Mike will be very happy to answer those questions for you. If you want to get in touch with us, feel free to send us an email, ftcommunitypodcast@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter at FTCCRC, and on Instagram, same thing. You can find me at IckleJoel on the Google Hangouts, and I also go by JCannon614 and JACRC on the forums, so you can find me in there. With that being said, we're gonna do. Mikey, what do you think? We should next couple of shows.
You're breaking up. What?
Should we plug the next couple of shows real quick? Or should we let them wait.
Let's plug the next one, but then the one after, let's hold off until next week.
Okay.
Because
That's
we have
perfect.
something very special going in.
Very exciting.
In what? I guess that would be. Hang on.
That's this one.
minute.
That's this one, Mikey. That's this one, isn't it?
Well, I know the next one is that one, and you can go ahead and talk about that while I look at.
While
I'm out of the loop here.
you get that one organized. So the next show, guys. So just so you know, between now and Flight Fest, there are 2 shows, Mike, if I remember correctly. The next one is going to be the. Yep.
Well, it'll be recorded on the 5th.
5th, and it will release that week, which I believe is the 9th of June.
You're correct. You're correct.
So we release on the 9th of June. That episode will be what we are calling Flight Fest Prep, and Flight Fest Prep is going to be another hostful. We're going to invite a plucky commentary to join us for what we are going to be doing is talking about my notebook here and every other person who joins this notebook, and this part of the notebook, which we will talk about here.
Joe. I don't
That's
have any.
okay. Remember, I'm the crazy organized one. And what that show will be about is preparing for large RC events and what we plan on bringing with us and how we organize ourselves and what we plan on bringing with us and how we plan on packing our vehicles. So that is going to be episode 12. It will be a hostful, and that will be live recorded on June 5th. So please join us for another YouTube episode on the 5th of June. Once again, we will probably go at 8 p.m. unless something changes. We will let everybody know.
Mm-hmm. And then the next show, which I won't tell you a whole lot about, but it will be recorded on the 19th of June, released on the 23rd. And I will give you a bit of a sneak preview only in the fact that it will include one of the flight test members. So please stick around for it. It's going to be very important for you to listen to if you're going to Flight Fest 2016, but it will be fun to listen to anyway, because who doesn't want to listen to us, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, another milestone real quick before we wrap up the show. Guys, we are back to our numbers, and we have officially surpassed them. We are at 15,000 downloads as of right now. So 15,000 total downloads. So thank you all so much for listening.
Is that just from Podbean, or is that from
That's total. That's everything.
Okay.
That's absolutely total of everything.
Well, that's fantastic. So
thank you all. Mikey, do you want to close us out for the evening?
Yes, I do. But before we do that, I do want to thank. God, I can't even speak now. I want to thank Ed so much for coming on and being with us and being a part of this. We appreciate your time. We really want to say thank you, and thank you for all the work that you do with the airplanes, man. You've done just some unbelievable work. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, fellas, thanks a lot for having me along. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with us, man. I definitely look forward to talking to you at Flight Fest this year. We actually met in the soybean field last year. I met you and Armin. I found your plane after combat and gave it back to you. But anyway.
Well, gracias for that, man.
Sir.
Yep, and yeah, we met, but ever so briefly. But I do have some photos of you and stuff. Matter of fact, on this podcast episode, when it gets released, the picture that I had taken will be on there, and it was from Flight Fest last year. So
thank you, Mike.
Just know we are fans. I mean, it's not, we're not kidding.
Yep, absolutely.
Truly are fans, man. So greatly appreciated for everything that you've done, not only just for us, but for the hobby as a whole, because you've brought a lot of stuff to the hobby.
You really have. I mean, I was pretty geeked out about talking to you because you've done really, like Mike said, you've done a lot, and I think you're one of the pioneers of the Dollar Tree foam board, which is such a inexpensive way to go that it's gotten a lot more people into the hobby.
Thanks, guys. I'm just another guy who made some videos. That's all the credit I can take, man. Thanks, though.
Yeah, but you've done it well.
Exactly. If as they've said, if it wasn't for you, and if it wasn't for Make Magazine and Lucas Weekly, I wouldn't be in the hobby at all. So thank you. And as the funniest story is as I was looking through those Make articles when I first saw it, you were the very first YouTube channel that I hopped onto, and I was fascinated from the second that I started watching. So no thanks to all of your content that I am fascinated with Dollar Tree Foam and all of its capabilities and getting me into this hobby. So thank you very, very much.
Very cool, man. Good to hear it.
Cool. So for everyone else out there listening, we want to say thank you so much for listening and pushing us over 1,000 downloads. Everybody out there, please keep listening. Please keep subscribing. Please like us. Rate us on
Please like
iTunes.
us.
Yeah, please like us.
The ratings in iTunes are really important.
Yes, absolutely. But we do appreciate all the support that we've had from everybody in the community. Just thanks a lot, guys. And by the way, Ed, you will be getting a T-shirt for being on the show. So,
Yep.
And you will receive that at Flight Fest. So,
All right.
yeah. So again, thanks everybody, and we will see you on episode 12. Thanks again for listening. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Good
Good
evening.
night.
Adios.